This particular volume seems to be an odd member of the cathedral's library holdings, the Boy's Own volume from Christmas 1867. But as we are so often told, you should never judge a book by its cover. Because in fact, it does not contain the expected thrilling tales of fact, fiction, history and adventure as promised by its publisher, but instead it contains over 30 items relating to Hereford local history that have all been bound together in this somewhat incongruous cover. It is known as a remboîte binding, from the French word remboîter, meaning to rebox or fit back into. There's a note inside the cover which states that it was bound by T. Crompton of Hereford. This was Thomas Crompton, a member of the Crompton family of bargemen and watermen, with a wharf on the River Wye known as Crompton's Wharf, about where the Left Bank and De Coffee Pot are today. In fact, his family address given at the time of Thomas's baptism was Pipe Lane, now Gwyn Street, just a stone's throw from the library where his volume is now kept. Exactly why Thomas didn't follow his father into the barge trade is unknown, but he appears as a bookbinder in the 1851 census, aged 26, as a printer-compositor in 1861, and then as a printer and bookbinder in 1871. He also appears in various trade directories of the period, with his business based at 22 Blue School Street, but his family living on Ine Road, from where his wife seemed to be operating a business as a milliner and dressmaker. He died in 1900, by now living on Aylstone Hill, leaving just over £500 to his widow, Mary Ann. Quite why he chose this particular book cover in which to bind these items is a mystery. The items all date from 1835 to 1877, so it was presumably bound shortly after then, in the cover of a book published some 10 years previously. Other notes in the volume tell us more about its later journey, that it was purchased from Booth's Bookshop in Hay-on-Wye in 1971, presumably by Basil Butcher, as a further note states that it was purchased for the Cathedral Library at the option of Basil Butcher's library itself.